Heidi ho, everybody, including Ash. G'day, mate.
Hello, buddy. How are you?
Oh, world's never been brighter, mate. You know how it is on a Tuesday. We've got over the hangover of Monday, which, of course, I'm referring to not a physical hangover, but a mental hangover when the market refuses to play ball with us. And I think Tuesday is probably the start of my week on most weeks. Let's see how that pans out today, shall we? First thing we should look at, I think, is the calendar, Forex Factory calendar.
Yeah, interesting news overnight in the Aussie.
Yes, well, a couple of hours ago for me, of course, where when you say interesting, did you find something interesting that I didn't? I read the statement and thought it was pretty much cut and paste as we would expect. That's the monetary policy side of things. We go on to the fiscal policy side of things in an hour and a half. Did you see something I didn't?
Maybe I should rephrase it. Interesting that the fact that we had some news on the Aussie and some reaction recent just over the last couple of hours. I think that's more what I was looking at, and I am quite keen on an Aussie short because of it.
Mm-hmm.
I will read the statement as well, as we go on with the show and see if there's anything in there that I do find. But yeah, I haven't read it yet, mate. So bad choice of words.
Why the bias?
Oh, why the bias short? Well, I think a couple of reasons. I've got a bias long dollar, technically speaking, and I have got a technical setup for a short in the Aussie.
Okay, there's two good reasons.
Yeah,
I'll go along with that. So you can't let the dollar go. You're still onto that.
Well, kind of. I mean,
and it is interesting. That chart's interesting, actually. Yeah, sorry, go.
Yeah, it's not so much that I am bullish the dollar kind of fundamentally. It's more, I think, the fact that I still think that the move that we had to the upside could still be, that flavor could still be out there in the market. We've still got the November election coming. There are still reasons, I think, to be just a little bit bullish about the dollar, about where it could go to. I don't think I'm ready to be a bear yet on the dollar, even though I am in the medium term. And we've just come back to test the neckline of the inverted head and shoulders that we saw establish itself a few weeks ago. So I think the technical trader in me wants to play that. So it's more down to that than anything else. And as I say, the fact that we had some overnight statement from the Australian dollar, and we've now seen some movement in the Australian dollar. I'm looking around about the daily pivot for a retest, and I'd quite like to go short on the Aussie dollar, even if it's just for the day. Maybe into the speech, the statement later on from Fed Chair Powell. Maybe just something like that. But I quite like the fact that it's broken down. And I quite like the fact that the dollar is holding. But I will show you those charts when we get started.
All right, mate. There's the Aussie there, looking like a very nice double pump on the monthly pivot, it must be said. And if this
we haven't got your chart, mate. I've still got Forex Factory.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That hurts because that's extremely painful. Let me try that again. Sometimes you share it, and no, I'm not going there. Righto, you should have the chart up now. Anytime it tick of the clock anyway.
Yeah.
We will come back to it, but yeah, it looks like I won't say a Batman mask in formation, but it does look very much like a symmetrical performance here would get us down to this level here. Maybe that's why you like it. 70 off, about 150 pips available there, perhaps.
Yeah. We'll have I'll have a look at it in a bit of detail. Just while we're in the room, though, good morning to Swee and John, Sino. Good morning to Angel, of course, who's in the room with us this morning as our producer. And
because she's my little angel.
Angel, did you hear Jeff's song, by the way?
She waited up half the night.
Did you hear the song that Jeff played for you? I don't know if you did. No, sorry, don't worry, you didn't miss anything.
Fair call. Let's talk pound. We've got about a minute to go before this actually happens, and we've got no time at all. So the buy entry level is at 1.2992. Gee whiz, I've got to place it myself. There's no room here at all for any errors. So we've got to be right on top of this. 1.2992 is the entry. And we've got nothing to play with. As I said, I think there's about 7 pips of risk in this. And we need to take profit at 4. I'm going to say 4 instead of 3. I'm just rounding up instead of down. 2985 is the stop loss. And I better hurry up and get this short on. Well, oh dear. Didn't like that. Pending order, buy stop. 2992, 2985. What's wrong with that? I don't know what's wrong with that. That's just bizarre. Oh, this account, this is a stupid account, is it? Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. Righto. So that's the buy order in place. Our TP1 is very, very fast, or should be very, very fast at 2996, which is round about there-ish. So you want to have your dancing shoes on, guys. If this does go long, TP1's there. At that time, you need to take half off the table and move your stop loss 4 pips from entry. Okay, so that's the long of it. The short of it, isn't that bizarre? The short of it is at 1.29. Actually, I didn't get that level, did I? 1.29. That doesn't look right. Yes, it is. 1.2981 is the short. Stop loss at 1.2992. And TP1 will be half of the risk, which is 11 pips. So we'll make that 5. No, we'll round it up. Sure, we'll make it 6. 1.2975 will be TP1 on the short. And on the TP2, which is double our risk, oh, yeah, goose, we will use 22 pips, which will bring us in at 1.2959. That'll be TP2 on the short. Okay, as I said, you want to have your dancing shoes on because we could be in here very, very quickly and also at TP1 very, very quickly, or even out very, very quickly. That, of course, we don't need to do too much about. We'll just let the stops get hit. There's no reason not to take either of these trades. The low of the day sits here. We'll be at TP1 before that. The high of the day sits here. We'll be at TP1 before that. And that red line there is TP1, as you can see. So although it's very, very tight and it looks like we're now in, so we need to look at TP1 very, very quickly. So we need to close the buy or half the buy at 2996. Okay, did we hit it? I can't see the chart. Looks like we did hit it. So you need to take profit now. I missed it. I need a bit another push. There we go. So take profit now. I think I actually got 2997. So that means I've got 5 pips. We will now move our stop loss 5 pips from entry, which was at 1.2992. So that makes it 1.2987. All right. As I said, that was pretty swift. And on that sort of a risk, you would want that to be pretty swift. Now, TP2 could also come up fairly quickly if we are fortunate. And at that point, you can do one of 2 things. You can move your stops to entry and do nothing. You can take another half off the table and move stops to entry. and you're very, very close to that now. I'm going to move stops to entry, definitely, and I might take another half off the table. Wrong box. Okay, so close. I've got very little left in this, of course. At 3906, 1.3006. Oh, we're not there yet. Okay, got a fair bit to go yet, actually. Another 5 pips. So nothing to do here at the moment. Just wait for that one. And when it gets to your TP2, then, as I say, do either of those things, or manage it the way you see fit. It's just one of those, I leave up to you guys how you want to manage that. You can take it all off the table if you want. If you get TP2, I'll just hang in here in case it does happen. And I will, as I said, I'll take another half off the table and move my stops to entry, therefore making it a winning trade no matter what. Come on, kick it up there.
Are you entered into that, Jeff?
Yeah.
Oh, you entered. Sorry, mate. I've just been looking around.
Okay, there you go. Take your second profit, guys, at 06, and move your stop loss to entry. Their entry was 1.2992. Okay.
Okay, sorry. So, right. I should have noted those down. I'm just going to write it up now. So it's 6th.
You want me to read it out to you?
That would be fantastic.
Okay, so
1 second. 6 of the 10th. 6 of the 10th.
Actually, we could actually show you guys how to work out your percentages on this now as well.
Brilliant stuff. 7:55 a.m. Right, the buy was at
1.2992.
Yep.
Stop loss.
Yep.
1.2985.
Yep.
TP1.
Yep.
1.2996.
Yep.
And TP2 was 1.3006.
Fantastic stuff. And the sell, what was that?
Doesn't matter. You don't need
it. Doesn't matter.
No.
I fill the others in, but you're right. It doesn't really matter because it ended up being triggered on the buy.
Yeah.
So
we've taken both TP1 and TP2.
Okay, and that gives us a profit in percentage terms of.
Right. Well, we've got to work it out. So we took 4 pips, which was what, 4/7. You got your calculator?
Yeah.
Do you want me to calculate it, or are you going to calculate it?
All
right. So we need 0.025.
0.025. Yeah.
Times times 4 divided by 7.
Okay, so it's basically 1 divided by 7. Yeah.
That'll be one result.
Yeah.
Now, TP2 may or may not get us money. We don't know yet, because until we close that, we don't know. So that you've locked in that percentage at the moment. So 4/7 of a quarter, whatever that is, 0.10.
Well, yeah, 0.14.
You go. So that's all we've got in the bank at the moment. That
okay,
can't be taken from us. It depends now on what happens with the rest of the trade.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So TP2, all we know about TP2 is that it's going to be taken out with a stop loss.
It'll be taken out with entry, yeah. So there'll be either 0 at TP2 or there'll be a result depending on where we decide to take profit.
All right, mate. Sounds good.
Now, my counsel would be to exit this trade at the monthly pivot. So I'll nominate that now. 1.3022. So we that we'll put that as target 1.3022.
Okay.
Bit of work to do to get to there, but if we do, then that will turn out to be a reasonable result.
Your sell numbers are basically the opposite of your buy numbers anyway, aren't they?
Depends on the range. So the range today was this bar, this bar, this bar. So the entry was there for the long, stop loss there for the long, entry for the short there, stop loss.
I see.
There. So
Gotcha.
we're trading either extreme of the candles.
Okay. Sorry, mate, what was the TP1 level? That was one thing I didn't write down.
1.2996. I actually got a bit more than that, but that's not what I nominated. So.
Okay. Oh yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, fine. Okie dokie, mate. Well done. That's really good. A good start to the day.
Well, let's hope we can get some follows through, mate. That's been the issue. You know, nothing's kicking through.
And you know, I'd be surprised in a way if we did. In truth, just because we got Jerome Powell out later on. So I wonder whether that might hamper it a little bit.
Oh, I think the monthly pivot's a chance.
The monthly pivot. Let me just see what we got.
It's just up ahead.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that for sure. So
I think I'd probably be looking for shorts if that were the case. I'd probably start.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. You know, from a trade perspective, I think the dollar's got a chance of getting somewhere. Just on the RBA statement, I've just read just something from Westpac and the. Yeah, just an interesting aspect of the statement. Last month, after it lifted to 0.738 against the dollar, the governor discussed the Aussie for the first time in many months. He noticed that the Australian dollar has appreciated to be around its highest level in 2 years. To ensure the market are aware and that although the Aussie dollar has now fallen by around about 2 cents for the US dollar since the last meeting, the RBA still sees it as high, and the government notes that the Australian dollar remains just below its peak of the last couple of years. So it sounds like they might be gearing up to do something. Readers will be aware that Westpac forecasts, so this is their own forecasts, at the next board meeting on November the 3rd, the board will decide to cut the cash rate, the 3-year bond target, and the rate on new borrowing of the term funding facility to 10 basis points to ensure that the objectives are internally consistent with the. We expect the RBA to reduce the rate which it pays on the exchange settlement balances to 1 basis point. So there are some expectations of some further action by the RBA, and certainly from Westpac.
By that commentator, anyway. Yes.
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? And you know, I suppose Westpac are quite a big player, but and that's not to say that the Aussie dollar would move today, but it certainly appears that there could be something in the offing. The market is on the move a little bit. The FTSE 100 currently down around about 0.5%, and I'm just looking at some of the stocks, and yeah, there's only 22% of stocks in positive territory right now. So FTSE is struggling a little bit today. Not quite sure why, but there does seem to be a little bit of lagging down with the FTSE. So let's have a quick look if you finished your.
Yes, I'm just showing you the Aussie chart. That's the hourly chart on the
Oh,
Aussie.
yeah. And now Sino has asked if Aussie pairs are moving down. Is it too late to enter? I mean, my opinion is it's too early. I think that the Aussie needs a bounce, and which we haven't had. If we consider what the ABC would look like, you know, trying to, you know, attempting to try and get the C of the move, then then we've had no B. All we've got is an A. You know, that breakdown of price. Is that on the hourly? Yeah, that's what I was looking at too. So on the hourly, we've had a breakdown of price, but we haven't had a pullback of any sort. So yeah, I'd want it in there, and that's exactly where I've got my trend line as well, which would give us that
lovely little confluence right there.
Yeah, exactly. Right on the daily pivot. That's where I'd really like it. So so I think it's too early, Sino. Personally, I think it's got to come back there, and if it doesn't, then it's, you know, that's not an actionable prospect anyway. The FTSE is on the move, and I looked at the FTSE thinking, you know, I wouldn't mind trading the FTSE lower here, but if we consider, I'm just going to show you my chart here, mate. Nasdaq had a decent day in the end yesterday after those ISM service numbers, but look at it right now. It's just looking a little bit under pressure here. Now, I would like to see this bar form really looking like that by the top of the hour. I wouldn't mind seeing that bar looking like that, but we might not get that opportunity. You know, it certainly looks like it's on the move at this particular stage. We've got a little bit of a hint from the Aussie potentially. You know, it looks like there's a little bit of risk off stepping in here. Is it significant enough to get into a decent trade on the Nasdaq is the question. And when I look at this, look at the pattern here on the 4 hour. Yeah, looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. We got that head and shoulders pattern here on the 4 hour, just in the right place as well. And it's just a question of, do we have an entry? And we probably don't yet. And the pivots are causing issues for my trading decisions here. But I quite like the way it looks. The Nasdaq. Now let's just have a look on longer term time frames and see what it suggests. Monthly pivot looks good. This bar here last week as well. This bar here looks pretty good, doesn't it? So if we can get up on the topper end of the bar, I'll be quite happy with that. So I'm waiting for a setup with the Nasdaq. FTSE 100 is maybe a little bit better looking. Now this is the weekly chart as well, so we're not getting a huge looking move just yet. Upper trend line there, but there is something just coming down here. Now we haven't quite touched that, and I would feel a lot more comfortable touching this area first. But after, if we touch this area, then I think there could be a short on. Touch this area, looks like a sweet spot as well. I think that there could be a short on. The move from high to low of this particular range here does bring us into this area. It does, 23% retracements there, but it does bring us into this area. It actually looks like next week. But just a little bit of weakness potentially coming in. And if I was going to trade any of them, I actually quite like the S&P. I'm just going to change this to a clean chart here. The S&P is my favored one. I like this level. I think the level that it's at is better than the FTSE. I think the FTSE's got a little bit potentially a little bit further to run. I think the Nasdaq has it's a little bit of a difficult one to short anyway, but it doesn't look anywhere near as clean at this stage, I don't think. And a little bit of a distribution pattern going on here with that and that and that. So Nasdaq not quite as good where it comes down to where it's at, but I like the S&P, for a potential short in the market. So you can see how clean the area looks. And if we look at the pivot here, looks like there's something to aim for intraday. Yeah, these pivots are a problem. They really are an issue. There's the trend line. The pivots really, I'm going to need the pivots to help me out, because what I'd like to see is this come down to the daily pivot and bounce. and then somewhere along this area, possibly as high as the trend line, which I guess would cause another double top. But I'd prefer something of a head and shoulders up here. I think would be better. So a little bit of waiting with the S&P, you know, similar to the Aussie, we haven't had the A move yet. So the A move bringing us down to the daily pivot and bouncing, that would be of interest to me. So, but yeah, there's some fairly quite a lot of weakness in this morning, mate. And I haven't read or heard anything that would drive that. But look at the FTSE; it really is having a difficult opening half an hour by the looks of things. Look at this on the 15. Having a difficult opening half an hour. It has taken out its trend line as well. So FTSE looks like the first to move. It looks like the first to show its hand at this particular stage. But we can't be certain on the FTSE until it breaks down this pattern. Look at the horizontal level along here. So if we are looking for a short, I like the S&P. But I'm looking at the FTSE just for a little bit of clarity. Look at the Aussie dollar as well. As I said, all we've had is the A, and there appears to be a risk off kind of sentiment in the market so far. Now we've got two potential areas to draw this trend line. We've got one there, which might lead us a bit higher, and there's also one that's going along here. Looking at this on a daily, I'm just going to change the chart again here. That's our trend line on the daily from the highest point, but it looks like the horizontal level is playing out. This would be a really good bar if it ended up looking like that by the end of the day. Of course, we've got lots of trading to be taking part before then, but nice looking bar here, and that would be a decent engulfing bar. So we get an engulfing bar, and you know, with a look of a high test bar. I'm not sure if it quite got beyond that other high, and it would be I think stretching the friendship a bit to say that that's a high test bar or a shooting star. So I would prefer really this to come back up again, touch that level, and then give us that body. That would be a much cleaner signal if that was to happen. So that's unlikely, but if it was, then that would be a better bar. But even the engulfing bar would look good. So we might be waiting till tomorrow, even, mate. But it's certainly looking like it could come down. Let's look at the euro dollar just as a proxy for the dollar index. And what I was saying is that the dollar looks like it's retesting its area, and this one has popped through. If you draw the trend line there, might be another trend line there. There's a horizontal level there, and there's a trend line here. So if we take the one that brings us to price, it's this one here. Now it does show that there are a few areas that need to be broken through, but again, you know, a decent bar here by the end of today could mean tomorrow that we're looking for a trade in the euro dollar and you know, subsequently the dollar index to start getting a boost, because this is a retest of the neckline of the head and shoulders. So there's our head with a little bit of a double spin, but here's the neckline. So we're retesting the neckline of the head and shoulders pattern. So, you know, the next move that I'd want to see is down. So I quite like the euro dollar.
That's how I analysed it this morning myself. And euro.
Yeah, it looks pretty good, doesn't it, mate? I mean, it's the next thing that I'd want to see. Let me just draw this trend line as well. Yeah, that's no good. Yeah, that's no good. So so I'm looking anyway. I'm looking across the board, mate, and I'm quite keen on the long dollar. I'm quite keen on potentially short on equities. So long dollar could drive us towards the Aussie. Let's have a quick look at copper as well.
Don't forget, in an hour we've got the federal budget on the Aussie.
Okay, all right. Well, that might make a bit of a difference too. Yes, I see what you mean. Okay, well that could be the difference between getting a trade and not. But what we need to see is the annual budget start to give a bit of a relief rally, if you like, almost like a dead cat bounce on the hourly back to the upside, get that statement, and then we can short the Aussie. So it looks like around about the 9:30 time, we could actually
I guess
get
it
something
depends on whether he wants to deliver the good news or the bad news first.
Yes, it does, mate. Absolutely, yeah. But I suppose it's one of those that the technical, this move that we've seen so far has come from the statement. Annual budget release, that might, people might buy into that, but is that enough to actually drive the Aussie higher? Because if it's not, then it might just give us the opportunity to take our short on. So I think you're right. We wait for that. We wait for the annual budget release, but after that, could have a trade. So that's what I'm looking for, and it will be, as I say, expressed probably with the S&P. If I'm going for indices, it will probably be expressed with potentially the euro dollar, but most likely at this stage it looks like the Aussie dollar. But I am looking for long dollar and short S&P for the day. Probably it will be my play for the week. So it depends if I can get it today or not. The other thing I wouldn't mind looking at, if they've got it on here, is natural gas. Now, do they have a chart for natural gas?
Fusion, I think so.
Anybody know the symbol for natural gas?
Yeah, it is XNG, and it is there.
XNG, I got it. Okay, natural gas. I think this one's a really interesting one. Look at this on the monthly. No, it's very difficult to know where the absolute levels are. Whoops. On this one, but there's a few trend lines here that I've been watching. I wonder whether this false break might provide us with a resistance zone here. But as you can see, it's a challenge with natural gas, because trying to find the absolute levels and the absolute trend lines is just not easy. Now, this is the peak that we've recently seen here. That was the last peak we've seen, and we're on top of that there. So this is not an easy one, and it's sort of, maybe squaring something that isn't there. But I quite like this horizontal level on natural gas. And I suppose I've drawn this second trend line to see if there's something there, rather than sort of believing that there is. But looks like that was resistance. It looks like this was support. It looks like that was resistance. It looks like that was resistance. It looks like that was resistance. So do we get another level of resistance? So I'm actually looking for a potential short in natural gas at this particular level. I think this is a sell zone. So I'm just seeing whether there is something there. But as you can see, this is not the easiest level to draw. And we were talking yesterday about how to draw trend lines. And it's this kind of thing that can start confusing people if they're new to trading, because it's not a nice clean area. But all I'm doing with any of these trend lines or levels of support and resistance is just guessing initially whether there might be a level by saying, well, where's price? If price is here, what happens if I draw a horizontal line from price? Is there any evidence that there's a bounce point? And when I look along, then I do see the evidence. So I'm starting from here. I'm not kind of looking back and sort of saying, my eye's not kind of like nicely in tune to say, oh, look at that beautiful horizontal level. I'm starting from the actual price point, just dropping a line in, and then I can start going, actually, there is evidence here to say that that I have got a potential level of where there is support became resistance and resistance became support. Same sort of thing with a trend line, where we are. Is there evidence that this could be a trend line? Well, this one's a lot cleaner. You can see that there's two there. So just to kind of like be clear about trend lines, you don't have to see the trend line straight away. The thing to do is start from the most recent point, the most recent price action, and then work backwards. You know, when you work, then you work backwards and say, okay, there's a touch here, there's a touch right next to it, and there's a touch there. If I go from this touch, it's going to be, you know, there's nothing between. Oh, sorry, that was really badly drawn. There's going to be nothing between this point here and this point here to corroborate that this this area here is a genuine level. You've stayed out of the Aussie pairs, Helen. Well, I mean, I think that's okay for now, to be honest. Any reason why?
Yeah, fully agree. It's a good day to stay out of the Aussies until we get the announcements.
Until we get the announcements, yeah. I mean, was that your reasoning as well, Helen? I mean, I don't know if everybody's on that.
I mean, I've let it be no secret that I wanted to trade Aussie CAD short, and I'm a fan Aussie Kiwi as well. But
yeah,
and I'll go through Aussie Kiwi in a bit when I do my analysis. But yeah, look, it's tossing a coin up in the air today, really.
Yeah, I agree, mate. So that's
We've
what
only
I'm
got
waiting
half an hour to
for.
wait, and the budget will be released. So, you know, by the time that settles down and all the toing and froing by the treasurer has been delivered, then we can start the trade. If it goes with our bias and we happen to get a nice little retrace to suit, then happy days.
Yeah. What would you call this, mate? Look at that pattern.
Hang on, I'll go back to your chart. Oh,
it's an interesting one, that, isn't it? I'm going to call it a diving board. Is it like
what chart do you look got? What's that?
This is natural gas, but I'm wondering whether there's somebody stood up here, and they're diving into a big bucket down here.
Looks a bit that way, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I'm looking for.
Looks like it's all on or all off with natural gas, doesn't
it? yeah, absolutely. Anyway, you know, forgetting the artwork, I quite like the possibility that natural gas does fall anyway. So level here, and if I don't get the break of the level, you know, under here, so we break down this trend line and back up again, then I am looking for natural gas for downside. So the symbol on natural gas on Fusion is XNG. So I'm looking for XNG for a short. I'm not interested in the long, but I quite like SNG for a short. So they're the things I'm looking at, mate. S&P short, Aussie short, dollar long potentially, and an XNG for a short.
Right, bud. Let me take a look and see what I can find. I was a bit keen on getting into the market this morning because we did have a nice day yesterday of peace where nothing happened. Well, not for me anyway. For other people, maybe that wasn't the case. But as I said, Tuesday is generally the day when I start to pay attention, and today will be no different. So from the outset, I won't go through. Well, no, I won't go through Sunday's pairs. Yes, I will. But I'll do it very, very briefly, just to see where we're up to there, because I've still, pardon me, got 7 pairs on my watch list. Actually, no, 6. One of them, and we started the week with CAD Swiss as our favoured for a short back into the bottom of the range. Thereafter, we're probably looking for a bounce long. But it's very, very tough to find an entry here. So I'm not going to spend any time on it until we get the significant lower high. Then I don't want to know about this one. And it is a mess, to be frank. Aussie CAD was the second on my watch list for this week, and I was quite keen to get short. Still am. Best place to get short from this pair, of course, is as a false break of resistance, and that could well still be there. We've got the budget coming up, as I say, in about 25 minutes, or is it an hour? I can't remember whether it might be an hour. Anyway, it's coming up. So I'd love to see price get back up here, then come back underneath and retest. If it goes now, then as sad as that will be, it's just the way it is. There's not a whole lot you can do about it. But I did like this from the outset, and I'm still very, very keen to find it. Even if we get up to here as a result of what the budget delivers, and then still find that lower high, I'd still be looking to trade this short. So that's Aussie CAD. That was second on my watch list for the week. Kiwi CAD was the third, and I've got no idea where that's gone. It's right next door. There you go. Now, Kiwi CAD, I was also looking to short this. And funnily enough, well, I don't know if it's funny, but it's certainly peculiar in many regards. The Aussie tends to drag the Kiwi all over the place with it. They seem to be bedfellows in many ways, primarily because they're both commodity currencies and risk-off currencies. So when one tends to go one way, then the other tends to follow. This looks to be the case, and maybe this might be the way, if you can't find a way in on the Aussie, to trade a short bias on the Aussie. How at the moment is probably not that clear to me, but there is definitely scenarios that we like to see every day. You can see how, and again, the pivot thing is very much a thing this week, and we spoke about it yesterday. That said, once we clear them, they should give us a beautiful support or resistance area from which to trade. So if this were to be the case for me, where price got back above this trade line, then found its way back underneath the trade line and the pivots, then retested the confluence area, that would be exactly what I'll be looking to trade from. Great area to trade from when you've got the pivots like that, but you've just got to be patient and wait for the opportunity. And it generally comes for me with a false break. So this may well be that we actually go long here. And I'm not going to predict for 1 second what the federal budget's going to do. I suspect it will be accommodative and fiscally responsible, shall I put it that way, in such a situation as COVID-19. So they're going to be spending more money. There's no question in my mind that that's going to be the case. What that actually means on a market level, or how the market's going to react to that, I guess remains to be seen. I guess it depends on the level that brings the Australian people into debt, or the Australian government into debt. So yeah, there's a lot to consider there, and I'm no economist, and I don't pretend to understand how that's all going to pan out. But what I will see is one or the other. We'll see a result in the chart, and the chart will tell us what to do here at the end of the day. And as I say, those pivots are extremely important to me at the moment, and I'm looking for price to get away from them, then come back to them and bounce off them. If it's long that way, then if it's short that way. So very, very key area. And again, that may well be, it may not be against the CAD, it may be against the dollar. If you can't find a way in on the Aussie, just have a look at the Kiwi in the same vein. Pound Kiwi was another one. And as you can see, those three are starting to move in the direction that we wanted to trade. So is this Pound Kiwi. Gee, I wish it would pull back so that we can find a way in. We are bullish this pair, but we were really wanting to get back underneath here and then go above the pivots exactly as I've just described and retest them, and then we can look for a place to go. That may still be on. We have done that once, then ducked below, done it twice. We hit the daily pivot today, but we haven't hit the two big ones, the monthly and the weekly pivot. So I'm still hopeful that will be the case. But at this point in time, I don't see any way to trade this long, and I don't want to trade it short. I don't think that's even on my radar. But yeah, it looks as though it may get away from us. I'm hopeful that won't be the case. So just hang in there and see if we can get that nice pullback that we're looking for. You know, I think we waited for that after we got our second take profit the last time we got into this, which of course wasn't that long ago. We were waiting for a pullback, which didn't come. I'm hopeful that's not going to be a repeat dose. So today, that was the watch list as it started this week. Today, Aussie Kiwi short. And this one's pretty clear to me because we are, forget the channel even, you know, we've got a very strong resistance trend line sitting there at a perfect position, which of course is just below the monthly pivot. Now the monthly pivot has been split in half, if you like, between last month and this month with that double pump there off the top of the trend line. What a beautiful confluence area. And if you're trading levels, then there would be far worse entries than below that candle right there. Not my thing, and certainly the wrong time of the week for me to be looking for that to trade. What I would be, however, seeking to do, actually, that wasn't the wrong time of the week. That was Thursday, I think. Oh, no, the month has changed. Hang on, what's today? Tuesday, Monday, Friday, Thursday. So it was Thursday's bar. So you'd had to have been trading it on Friday. I don't trade that bar anyway, but yeah, it looks nice now, doesn't it? And break and retest. So I'm still looking to trade this short, and I think there's probably something available for us. Finding the next level down is the key, and that may even be down as far as there. So this could take a long time, obviously, if we're looking at price and time together. But I still see that as a potential result for us. How would I like to trade it now? Well, that's a great question. I guess, as always, I'd like to see a resistance break turn into a false break. Ooh, if that's not going to be the case, and this budget comes out and plays a straight game, which would be unusual for a budget, but if it does, then I've got a problem, because if this goes straight down, I can't see any way in. But let's give us light or hope that there will be a little bit of a whipsaw of some kind, so a market reaction in both directions, and hopefully, for me anyway, that is initially to the upside, and then we find it come back to the downside. That's what I'll be looking for. But it is a little bit tricky to try and get into the market right now if you aren't in. I did take a trade this morning, and it was on EuroCAD. If I can find that chart. Why can't I find it? It must be up here somewhere. There it is, EuroCAD. And this is just a stock standard re-entry into the range and a lower high thereafter. You could also argue that we've been to the bottom of the range and have, well, we missed by a little bit, and we've missed by a little bit up here. But I've chosen to trade this candle here. I may change that because the reward to risk on the first part of this is ridiculously low. I'm trading this bar, but I've got my entry below the daily pivot for obvious reasons. I might take a look at the smaller time frames here. What's happened to the pound, by the way? Pound. Keep forgetting the pound, and I'm trading it manually. Okay, we're back out of that. Right. Got it. Back to EuroCAD. And I'd really like to find a better entry than I've got. And that bar there is interesting, but it's not compelling, because, again, we're straight at one of these pivot things that are haunting us. What I'd like to see here is a break and retest of that area. The problem then is going to be trading straight into the low of the day, which is only 6 pips away, off a risk of, yeah, who knows? Who knows? How do we trade this, guys? All looks good. I'm really keen to get short. It's not going to be pretty, not in that area. So I guess we've got to come back to here. And interestingly enough, when I say these things, I'm not predicting anything. I'm not predicting that price is going to go to here and then come back underneath the trade line and retest. I'm not predicting that at all. I'm simply looking for a potential entry that would suit me, so at a price that suits me. So I'm not saying that, you know, it's going to there definitely, and then it's going to come back to here. So don't think that that's a trade up to there and then we look for the short. Certainly, if it happens, that's what we'll be doing. I think I would still consider a break and retest of the confluence area, but I've definitely got to be taking profit here. And that's going to be the problem. So if we go too far here and only look at like 3-4 pips like we had to trade on the pound today, I don't think I'd be that interested. So I'll just hang on to what I've got for now. The entry's around about here somewhere, and see how that pans out on the 4-hour chart. But yeah, if we get an opportunity sooner, then I'll probably jump on that as well. Euro yen, as I said before, and Ash pointed out, we had a neckline here on euro yen, exactly the same as we had on euro dollar. That was broken, and now we've got that retest, and it's a pretty clear retest for me. The one concern here would be that the monthly pivot has been closed above with yesterday's candle, which is a very strong one, I would hasten to add. So again, what I need to see here is a false break of resistance. Now, depending on where you want to call that neckline, I'll call that red line, the neckline's close enough. If we were, again, to break above the resistance trend line / trade line, come back underneath it, underneath the monthly, underneath the daily, and retest the confluence area on any time frame, don't care what it is, then there's your short for you presented. And I think this is I won't call it gilded in gold trade opportunity, but I'll tell you what, I'd be very, very keen if it does set up to trade this short. And I think there's good reason to think that's the case, because we are in a downtrend still, in my humble opinion. We would be then producing a false break of that 124.33 level as I've got it. So this candle's very, very important on the monthly chart. Obviously, that's not where we're looking to trade at the moment, but it's at that exact level that we are looking to enter the market. So yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see that false break back underneath here, retest the confluence, get underneath the pivots and retest them. There's a whole lot to like about that if it does set up. This, to my mind, is one of those potential reversal situations. We shall see, and we're a long way off getting into it, but to me, that's looking pretty cool for a downside, for a short. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment. I'm going to very, very briefly. You can see exactly the same thing on euro dollar as we discussed. There is a difference. And I suppose euro dollar is better for this reason. There hasn't been a close above the monthly pivot on this chart. Or has there? Or I've got to squint to find it. It's pretty much bang on it as far as I'm concerned. And again, same thing, break resistance, back underneath, retest, and away we go. So that's the theme. That's the common theme. At least we've got one today, whereas yesterday it was looking fairly forlorn for opportunities to get into the market. So what was I going to do? I was going to have a look at the 30-minute charts very, very quickly, and I don't often do this, but I think it's a good idea right now to do that, because we've got to wait on the ones that I'm watching. So let's see what else is out there. Look at that. Beautiful little rabbit ears. So let's have a look and see. Just very, very briefly, I'll run through these. I won't spend any time on them at all. But if they look like a trade and they smell like a trade, maybe there's a trade there. Oh, I can't do it on this, can I? Okay. Try it on this one. Market scanner, that's the one I want. Okay, we are on a daily chart. We don't want to be there. We want to be on the 30-minute chart. Ready, set, go. Okay, so that is euro dollar. And we do have nothing to do here at the moment. I don't even have a trade line I can put through there, because I've only got one bar above this swing, which is not yet a swing, and 2 bars to that side. So there's nothing there. There's no trade line for me to deal with. So I just move on. Let's start with Aussie CAD. And, you know, I've got a bearish bias on that. but at the moment it needs pullback, so nothing to do there. Aussie Swissy. I'll just do a couple of these Aussie pairs because they're going to be all exactly the same, so we won't worry about that. Let's look at CAD Swissy. We also had a bearish bias on this one. And at the moment, we've got a bearish rejection at these levels. The bearish nature of my bias probably needs to be satisfied here. Again, break back underneath the confluence and away we go. So nothing there at the moment. CAD Yen, we tried to trade CAD Yen last week, didn't we? And got only a TP1 from memory, I think. Okay, so we're back underneath the monthly pivot. This is also a 30-minute chart, which is showing me no trades. So that'll do for the CAD pairs at the moment. The Euro pairs we've just spoken about, I won't need to go there, apart from Euro Kiwi. Want to have a look at Euro Kiwi. Yeah, okay, big breakout to the high side. We've got to come back underneath here, so nothing there either. The pound pairs, I think the pound's really tough to trade. Don't want to trade against the Aussie at the moment. The CAD I'm keen, so pound CAD short may be an option. And we are at a good level for that. Okay, so let's look at the possibilities here. I don't really have a resistance. Yeah, I do. Okay. That won't work. All right, so we're getting about a double pump on that that resistance trade line. I'd like to see it broken, of course, and then come back under the same old story. Untested daily pivot in my mind, which is the monthly pivot and the weekly pivot, they're all stacked up together there. So I don't want to be trading away from this. So my bias is short, looking for a false break off here. Would also accept a break and retest here because our low of the day is way down here. We've got plenty of room to the daily pivot, and I think that would be a reasonable trade to take. So A, B, C on pound CAD. I think that's something that I would get interested in. Won't go to any more of the pound pairs, but the Kiwi pairs are interesting if you consider that the Kiwi is a little bit of a proxy for the Aussie. Now, if, as I said before, you don't want to trade the Aussie because of the news and because it might slip away, then this may well be an option for you. At the moment, exactly the same thing applies. We've got to have pullback. That's the Swissy. The yen. The yen's kind of there, isn't it? Interesting. Nice trend line coming up through here. Break, retest, trade, can't. Daily pivot ahead, weekly, monthly pivot ahead. But can I do it a second time? Double cross of the pivots. Why not? It's a 30-minute chart and it's got 6 minutes left in it. If it were to close above the daily pivot and monthly pivot, I would consider that. Let me see how tight that is. So let's say we've got about 12, 13 pips and we've got about 5, not even 6. What a bugger. It's worth a thought, but I'd need to see the candle close above here. I'll come back to it at the top of the hour and make a call on that. And the dollar pairs. Let's have a look at dollar yen. Now, I think you'll find that the dollar versus every other currency pair or every other currency will be doing pretty much the opposite to what it's doing with the yen. So dollar CAD has rallied, dollar Swiss has rallied, dollar Sing has rallied to a degree, but dollar yen just blows me away. Always does. There's something about dollar yen. And I do want to trade this and have done for the longest time, wanted to get short, but actually that's an old trade I'm still in. You guys wouldn't be in that. It was a discretional thing from ages ago. I'm still in it and still in drawdown. I don't know. No, I can't pick it. I can't change that from there. So no, I can't. Well, one thing I can see actually is the double bottom followed by a higher low. So if I'm actually completely honest with myself, then I'm on the wrong side of this because I see an entry there, which you'd already be in. This is interesting.
Yeah, I'm interested in the dollar, mate. I'd quite like to take a dollar Swissy trade as well. I mean, I was looking at the Aussie, but that doesn't look any good. But the dollar Swissy, that looks all right to me.
What do I got here? Dollar yen. I think dollar yen looks all right.
Yeah, interesting actually that we're both after risk off, which is odd actually because do you know what? I tell you what, I've just seen something that I think is quite interesting. I've unfortunately lost my the app that I use for checking stocks, but the FTSE has got 22% of stocks in positive territory. Sorry, yes, only 22% of stocks in positive territory. So 78 to the downside. But what I find quite fascinating is I'm tracking EasyJet, which is an airline company over here. And they're currently up near 4.5%. And I'm trying to find a reason that EasyJet might well be up 4.5%. And what I've come up with is it possible with the president of the free world leaving hospital in the way and the fashion that he has done, that the confidence in...
Is he out, is he?
He's out. Yeah, he left yesterday. Yeah.
That
he's
little
out
drive past, he kept going, did he?
I beg your pardon?
He did a drive past. He just kept going, did he?
Yeah, just kept. Yeah. I mean, he popped in and he's popped out. But he's got his normal overly bullish kind of attitude about it. Maybe I'm cured. Maybe I'm immune. That's what he's saying.
Told you didn't have it.
But yeah, it's
right.
as daft as always. But yeah, he. I wonder. Is it possible that with the president and the leader of the free world getting treated in the way he has, being in his 74th year and being obese, that people start going, actually, there is treatment out there. Let's forget, because statistically, the individual should be incredibly sick. So is it the treatment that has got him through? And there is treatment out there, and he's very positive about the way he's talking about things. Is it possible that is giving a boost? Now, I haven't looked at the other travel stocks actually, so that will be a proper gauge. But the fact that EasyJet's up by so much, in fact, yeah, looking across the board, as I say, there's the majority of stocks are down. Actually, it's changed somewhat. So we got now 68% of stocks are down. But if we look at, if I'm looking at the stocks that are up, Rolls-Royce Group, aerospace and defense, so they're exposed to the travel industry. They're up almost 8% this morning. International Consolidated Airlines are British Airways and the like. They're up 2.5% this morning. Whitbread, which is a pub chain, again in the kind of travel industry, they are up by 1.5%. Intercontinental Hotels up by 1.2%. The travel industry today seems to be doing quite well. And now there's been, as far as I'm aware, no news on countries being taken off a quarantine list in the UK. So I wonder whether he's actually given a little bit of a boost to the travel industry.
Maybe, mate. Yeah, I get your reasoning.
The UK is aiming for a greener energy source by 2030. They're looking to effectively power every home by 2030, and they're looking at wind as their weapon of choice to kind of achieve that. Now, if that's the case,
who's that?
The UK. Boris Johnson is announcing a green revolution, effectively. So
Yeah, look, massive issue, of course, is maintaining base load with wind power because it's so inefficient, or the production
yes,
of it is so inefficient.
right. Okay.
So
So some
uh,
it could be, but they're
it's a
looking to
it's
do
a
this.
long-term project. That one really is.
Does that mean though, but the first thing I think is there going to be further investment now into that particular field? So now I'm just thumbing through some stocks that could actually benefit from a push towards that technology improving. So yeah, there's a couple of things today that I have caught my attention. Obviously, the first thing is the travel industry. I am long. I do have a long on EasyJet anyway. I've got a trade on EasyJet where I'm long from 490 and it's currently up at 520, I think. So pretty decent boost this morning. But also, as I say, I'm looking at the potential to have a look at some stocks in the wind industry. And that's, I'm sharing that with you guys out there, just as my thought process. What might, some stocks that might actually get a bit of a boost. Now, this is not for trading. This is for a potential investment, because if we're looking at 10 years, it's going to take a while. But these are the kind of things that we want to put in a portfolio. I would think.
Helen, not to the best of my knowledge. The budget announcement starts in about 28 minutes from now. So there shouldn't be Aussie news at the moment. Maybe a little bit of speculation. I don't know going on as to what might happen. But I don't see anything there at the moment. Sino slingshot only trades over about 8 years is around about the 80% mark. Now, don't be misled by that. That's 80% win-loss ratio. Because we trade the way we do on a very, very quick TP1, which gets it safe on the shorter time frames, that's counting break-even trades as well, right? So it's non-loss trades. So win/break-even ratio is 8-2. Now, generally what you'll find across many moons is 4 wins, 4 break-evens, 2 losses per every 10 trades. That's what we found over many moons of testing it. So, and that's live trading testing it. So if you want to pull it back to its raw, then you're looking at 442. If you want to claim it, as most people do, then the win-loss ratio is 80-20. The claim, if you like, could be substantiated by taking 0.55% off at TP1. Now, I'll never run away from that. That's the facts. You're looking at 4 winners, 4 break even, and 2 for every 10 trades over time. That's not this week. It's not this month. It's not last week. It's not last month. It's over all time. And that's the question that you're asking. So that's about it, mate. That's where it lies. Have we got any other questions there that I need? Trump immune are going to save the world. Now, the interesting part, Shukri, I think about that, and I hope you're warming up for this evening, where you're going to take moths out of my wallet, right, and put in some money, or some tokens or whatever they are. I think if Trump has been on this experimental drug, right, and he actually grows hair or something like that, then that drug is going to be very, very popular, not only because it cures COVID. I can't believe that can be the case. How can they put the president of the United States on a drug which is not tested? Bullshit.
I don't think. No, I think remdesivir has been. I don't think it's an untested drug. I think it's more of a treatment than a vaccine that he's been taking.
So that the news that I heard is fake news. He wasn't.
Oh, I don't know. What have you heard? I haven't heard.
I heard he was on a trial drug. That's what I heard.
Oh, was he? Oh, well, I don't know. I haven't heard that. So that could be right. I thought
But as I say, if it's a hair tonic, it'll probably do well. Other than that, who knows? But he's Donald, and there's no turning back. Questions? Yes, he does really want to win the presidency. There's no question about that. But no, they're not going to allow the president of the United States to take a trial drug. It's not going to happen. So that hasn't, I don't believe. The Pareto principle, yes. Actually wrote an article about that once. So I'll see if I can dig it out. Yep, I think I'm up to date. Yeah, I'm good. Did we take a trade at 7 o'clock? Or at 7 o'clock my time? Let's have a look.
You took the pound.
Yeah, that's out now though. So a small win only. So you can record that one now, mate. TP20.
Yeah, no problem. I got it 0.14.
We won't get to retire on that very quickly, but and back to your question, Sino. That is exactly how this trading system of mine works. It's little bits often. And if you're able to accept that as a method of trading, then I would highly recommend that you adopt that principle. If you can't accept that as a method of trading, where you want to get quicker results or you want more excitement in your life, then okay, I get that too, because it is a very slow process. It's a capital building strategy. It's certainly not an excitement machine. There's no question there. So yeah, don't be misled and think that, the 80-20 win-loss ratio is super exciting and outstanding. And anybody who quotes those sort of numbers is doing something very similar. They're taking a lot less risk into the market, or they're controlling their risk after they're in the market very, very tightly. There's no substitute for risk and reward. And you can't reverse the principle. The principle is still the same. If you risk more, the chances are your reward will be far greater and your win-loss ratio will be far less. You can't change that. It's like physics. It's like dropping a rock. It's going to fall. There's no argument, and nobody has ever made that argument in any financial system that I'm aware of. The less risk you take, the less reward you will gain, but you'll probably do it more often. And that's exactly the principle of how the slingshot works. And that's why you see things like taking profit at 4 pips. But look what happens. If you have a look at the pound chart right now, I don't know if you're on my screen. You on my screen? Yes, you are. If you have a look at the pound chart right now and you didn't take that profit, you're a loser. And that's my whole point. I much prefer to take little bits often than, oh shit, I just lost another 0.25% or 1%. It doesn't do anything for me at all. And when you're trading these type of charts at this time, you've got to be prepared for price going to it didn't even get to a resistance level today. That's the kind of stuff you've got to deal with. And if you've got a stop loss that's down here somewhere, no big deal. But if you've got a stop loss that's here and you're trading here, you can't afford to have any of that happen to you. So that's TP1, and that's why it is so tight on this strategy. It's interesting because a lot of people just don't take to it for that reason. They think, oh my God, I only made 0.14% on that trade. Well, you do it 8 times out of 10, then who cares? Doesn't matter. Or do it 4 times out of 10 and get 4 break evens. Same thing. At the end of the day, you've got a bit better than 0.5% out of your 10 trades. Exciting. Well, if you're trading at 1%, you can multiply that by 4. So it's 2.5%. We're only trading this at 0.25%, don't forget, and that's what the rewards have been based on. Anyway, I don't need to go on too much. I don't need to nepotism. Oh, with his mates, his family. Okay, righto. So I'm done, guys. Hang on, I was looking at something, wasn't I, on the 30-minute charts? The euro shot through. Yeah. Not like we didn't expect it. How'd euro yen go? Euro yen. Did I tell you guys that I'm in EuroCAD? Maybe I should have shared that. Not in it yet. Oh, that's right. I told you before that the entry's down here somewhere. And we may get a better entry. Okay, so no, I don't have any trades at the moment, but maybe this one was a good one to be on. But pivots, very, very tough to trade with those pivots in bad places. We've got to clear away from them, and we've been saying that for now 2 days. Righto, Ash, I'm ready to go, mate. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm ready to go as well, mate. I've got a really good look at the dollar Swiss. I'm just waiting for this 4-hour candle to close. The only thing with it is I'm just going to quickly show you my screen and then we'll shoot off. But I like this. I like the dollar Swiss, and it is, you know, kind of like pick your poison in some respects for the dollar. But looking at this, you know, look at this on the longer term time frames here. No, we can't do it that way. Let's do it on a daily. This is our inverted head and shoulders down here that we were talking about with the dollar index, and it's been expressed here as well. So we've got left shoulder there, we've got our head there, we've got the right shoulder here, and we've got a retracement really down to this level. Now, that's not the trend line that I'm really interested in. If I'm completely honest, the trend line that I'm really interested in is this one down here. So it may have a little bit to go, but it doesn't.
They're looking like all the same trade, mate, aren't they?
They are actually, and it is. And
necklines.
I guess that's what I mean. You know, you've got to kind of pick your weapon of choice in many respects with this one, because I think you don't want to get overexposed to the dollar, but it looks like the dollar could get a boost from here. And I like the Swissy. If you know, the best thing to do would be now to go through, which I will do. Now to go through the comparisons. How's the Swissy look against the euro? You know, for an example, you know, what's this suggesting? Well, on the daily, it does suggest that we could be looking for downside. Let's have a look on the weekly. Under the monthly pivot, let's just have a look at this trend line as well. Could be in a buy zone, actually, but I could definitely make the case that this is also a sell zone up here. So I don't really learn too much from that. So it's not really a major issue which one to pick. Actually, the Swissy doesn't look too bad. So so it could be the euro, it could be the Swissy, but it's I like let's have a look at the dollar, yeah, euro dollar, and it's going to be a question of what's in the way. I think that the dollar Swiss just looks like a cleaner chart. So purely for a technical reason, I'm looking at dollar Swiss instead. It would be great to see this bar looking similar to this by the end of by the close of today. Question I've got is, can I trade it before that bar's closed? I like the look of this price action here. I like the fact that we may well have carved something now. Now this is a 4-hour, and I wouldn't want to get my signal on anything less than a 4-hour. But I quite like the fact that that looks like it's an open water below the trend line. So it looks like a decent bounce area. So anything above looks good. Now the question is how to play it with these pivots here. But I wouldn't mind seeing it come to the pivots and come back again and then trade, which means that I'll be looking at shorter term timeframes for that higher low. And I've looked at the hourly, and there's nothing really on the hourly that we can get just yet. Looks like it's got that would look like a resistance point. So I would like to see it come up there first and then come back. You can see that it's not even through this particular pattern. We go down to the 15, and it looks better. You know, so I'm toying with this, mate, to get in a bit. You know, that looks like a break to me. Let's just tidy up the line. Actually, no, it's not a break. It's not a break. So there may well be a suggestion of a higher low, but I don't think that's no good. But you can see what I'm looking at. And you know, if we're looking at this on a 15, that means we've got loads of time. So so boosting up, I may well take it before it gets up to that point. Depending on how clean the chart looks on the shorter term timeframes. But aside, you know, if that wasn't to happen, then I'll be quite happy to wait and see if I can get a move up, some move back, you know, over a course of a period, and then see if it can actually get through that level. So I'm looking for an ABC. So that being the A, that being the B. And then I'm going to try and trade the C. Or can I do a C on the with straight lines? So this would be you know, the potential entry if it comes back up again and down. But I would toy with playing on the 15 if I get the entry, and then taking a bit off the table there if it comes back again. So yeah, a couple of things to watch out for, mate. You know, we'll see how it goes. It might be that we're waiting for the Jerome Powell speech. It might be that this market starts to move a bit before, but there's some movement out there. You know, the market is moving. I'm seeing the FTSE starting to, you know, it really has taken a bit of a drift to the downside without doing anything significant. There is some liquidity today. Seeing the same with the Nasdaq as well. So I'm watching out a few things, mate. Also watching copper, natural gas, and a bit of soybean as well. I'm checking out. So there's a few things on the move. Bitcoin looks like it's struggling today at this particular stage. Not a broad trend picture, but certainly for the first hour and 15 minutes, we have seen just a bit of risk off in the market.
Happy days. I'm hoping that remains the case, but I am hoping that in half an hour's time or something, the budget is released in Australia in about 12 minutes time. That we've got a nice pullback on the Aussie pairs, so we can find a way into the shorts. That would be good. Yeah. Helen, more than happy to shout, my dear. More than happy to shout when we meet up, wherever that may be, whenever that may be. This COVID thing, of course, puts a few restrictions around that. It must be said. Right, we're out of here. We'll be back, of course. Sorry, I'll be back. Ash won't be back. His day off as of now, and he'll be back with us on Thursday. You can look forward to the Shukri machine. What's he called? Scatman.
The Scatman. Check the Scatman. You got to play his tune later on, Jeff.
Yeah, I know. That means I've got to have two lined up. It's tough work without a mixer. No mixer. I'm used to mixers. So we'll check in with Shukri in the evening show, and Ash will look forward to seeing you on Thursday, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely right. Helen, you're right. Remdesivir is an antiviral for Ebola, so it's already out and tested. But Jeff said that he's heard that he's taking something else. So we'll see how that story
trialing
develops.
Something. Yeah, it's
trialing something. Yeah, we'll see what that is.
It's all piffle.
All right, have a great afternoon, guys, and a great day tomorrow, and I'll see you on Thursday.
Right, bud, and goodbye all. We'll see you a little later in